we're taping now.
Okay. So my name is Nick Dubois, and this is the project that I've been working on for the last few months. It's been a great experience. I'm going to be calling it Light Well Gardens. You know, it has to do with the light that's coming from inside of you. You know, the goodness that you're putting in your food that you're going to be feeding other people. I'm doing it in my backyard right now, and this is a nice picture, you know, that I had. I have great views sometimes of the sunsets. Next slide. So I wanted to start off by why I grow. You know, that's the main reason. You know, you got to figure out what's motivating you behind your actions. I wanted to do a small scale, organically grown farm. I think there's a growing market for that. You know, organic food has been growing year over year. The market for that, the money spent on that. And New Hampshire specifically is a great market for locally sold produce. There's a lot of people that support that, specifically in the state. I wanted to also cut down on transportation costs. That's a big thing about how our agriculture system is set up these days. You know, we have these big scale farms that import food from across, you know, continents sometimes. And a lot of the food, the produce that's selected to grow is, you know, not necessarily for its flavor or taste or nutritional value, but it's grown because it stores well and is easily marketable. It doesn't damage when transporting. So that's also something I wanted to avoid, and I wanted to give my customers a better variety of things that they might not have, you know, available close to home. And it's also the beginning of something great. You know, this is something that I'm really passionate about, and I wanted to learn more about this. So my product details, the idea of what I want to do is, right now I'm leasing land from my mom, the backyard of 240 square foot. It's very small. It's not a very big operation. It's not going to have a lot of produce for now. But this is a great experience to be able to scale up. Now I know what I'm doing. So I wanted to focus on tomatoes, sauce varieties mainly, like Roma tomatoes, and garlic. I'm growing garlic in my community garden right now, off-site, and I'm going to incorporate that into my own garden and continue growing that in the community garden in the future, that I can, you know, lease another little spot for very, very affordable. And I also wanted to go with, you know, herbs to add to the sauces that I'm going to be creating. So I want, instead of selling, you know, very expensive tomatoes directly to my customers, my idea is to add value to the packages by grouping this together and including a canning jar and instructions and recipe to make a sauce package. So you're not only getting safely grown, organically grown produce, but you're also getting a educational value out of it as well, and an experience with your friends or whoever you do this with, you know. So there's more value added to that than just selling at a regular tomato or organically grown garlic. Yes, that's great, but I feel like this package would be a lot easier to market to people that especially are a little daunted by growing their own or cooking their own sauce. They've maybe never done that, so this could be a great experience for a lot of people. You know, you could give it to your families, your kids, you know, give it as gifts for birthday gifts, something like that, graduations maybe, or date nights with your significant other and teaching your cooking skills, you know. And I want to target this to, you know, health conscious families, people that are environmentally conscious as well, that are concerned not only of their own health but also of the ecosystems that get impacted by farming practices. I don't plan on using any synthetic fertilizers. I don't plan on using any pesticides. That's a big reason why I want to grow organically, is to avoid pesticides. conventional farming has you're exposed to 30% more pesticides from conventional farming versus if you were to eat an organic diet alone. And it's almost impossible to avoid pesticides even if it's all organically grown. It's just everywhere. But reducing that is a great way to look after your health and the health of those that you care about. Next slide. So my marketing strategy, I'm going to be marketing this to farmers markets directly. I'm going to be selling my produce and that I grew it, and I'm going to be selling, my good faith that this is a safe product. I'm not going to be organically certified. My scale is just, it's not feasible to be doing that. It would cut too much into profits. There's a lot of record keeping with that as well. And right now I only have budgeted for 3 hours a week for my work. And I didn't really want to increase that with record keeping, especially with my day job that I have. So I'm also going to be using my community gardens. We have a Facebook page that I can post there. We also do sales at the end of the season. Sometimes if there's extra. There's a program called Manchester Grows, which is a great program. It's community involvement with farming and agriculture in an urban environment as Manchester. They're doing a program that has basically you can donate tomatoes. They'll give you free tomatoes if you want them, and you donate your produce back to that program at the end of the season, and they make pizza sauce for the local school system. And that would be a great resource for me to learn more about the commercial kitchen aspect of it if I ever wanted to start canning my own products to sell directly. I avoid any licensorships that I need if I just sell the raw product with the canning instructions and leave that up to the customer and instruct them on how to safely do that. And then I'd have a mailing list as well, so I'd have return customers and people that want to support my mission. Next slide. So this is a breakdown. This is very optimistic. I haven't actually had my harvest yet, so I have little green tomatoes that I checked on today. But I don't have actual numbers. I'm going to be weighing my produce this season, seeing how much I have. This is a picture of the garden that I have. It's 2 mounds, and not a lot of it is tomatoes. So I kind of went overboard. When I first started this, I wanted to grow everything, but now I'm more focused, and I want to really focus in on these packages because I think that's a great way to turn a profit in this small scale type of system. So next year I'm going to be doing, all tomatoes and garlic and herbs instead of the peppers and all the other varieties I have. Then I'll have, more pollinator flowers on the edges. I might even add another little bed, that's closer to my sidewalk that has a lot more foot and car traffic. That's not necessarily great for growing, but I might add, sunflowers, something catches your eye, that will get people thinking. A lot of the costs in this are packaging. I didn't do too much research on this because I haven't actually had to create that packaging, so I haven't probably found the best resources for sourcing. Like the jars, they're very expensive, but I'm sure if I was able to find bulk purchasing orders, that price would come down. The infrastructure cost won't be as much next year. I might want to add a rainwater collection system, but mainly I'll just be able to reuse what I have. I might need to have more amendments. I have a soil test that I'm still waiting on results from UNH, and I don't really want to tamper with the soil too much until I know what's in there. So we'll see what those results say, and I'll probably do another repeat soil test for next year. And the third year. It might not be the third year, it might be later in the future, but that's my scale year. I scaled it up to an acre. Basically, I took what I had here, doubled it, doubled the production of my yields, because I'm going to be doing both sides, both beds of just my tomato sauce species, varieties that I need. And then I take that and I scale it up to a year, or an acre, excuse me. And then I also added a high tunnel. I think that'd be a really good resource to extend the season and also help me grow the seedlings without having to worry too much about frost and have more space to do that. Right now, I grew my seedlings in just in like this pantry I have with an indoor grow light, and I mean, that was great and all, but if I really want to scale this, I'm going to need more space, and I think a high tunnel would be great for that. So I did include a high tunnel in that, and I also included 40 hours a week for this to hopefully transition away from my job that I have now into something that I really enjoy doing. But we'll see. I can adjust those later on once I have actual weights and have a better idea of maybe next season when I have really focused on just doing these packages. Excellent, yeah. So that's my contact information. I'm having a great time doing this so far, and it seems like it's going great, and it's a lot bright horizons for the future. Yeah, so my logo. Yeah,
pass that around.
I didn't really have a logo, but I did this last night. It's just like a little bushel of, or I don't know what you call it, of Roma tomatoes, and I might edit that or put that and scan it into the computer. I'm not sure how that would look scaled down onto a little label, because sometimes detail, when you're taking a bigger picture and squishing it into a little label, it doesn't turn out as well, or you can't recognize it as well as if it's a large scale. But that's an idea.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions? Yes.
Yes, in the back.
Yes.
So I like your idea of this value-added package, so that how things go together, because immediately I'm thinking of all of the pre-packaged meals and those types of businesses that popped up during COVID.
Yeah.
And that are going really strong, where people kind of get a meal and they pick it up or they take it home. And so this sort of seemed to fit in, but in a very organic, natural way.
Yeah, exactly. It takes away that those barriers that people have, like sometimes, or hesitations, or just, I don't know how to do this, or what am I going to do for dinner? This makes it so easy. This just makes it, go and do it. This is how you do it. So
you could, put fresh pasta in there.
Yeah.
You could connect with Willow and her squash, and you know how they do those squash ribbons, and then you've got
that'd be great.
Working, to round it off. That's
right.
what
I was thinking maybe a pizza package.
Exactly.
Put some dough in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I really like that idea. And I would suggest in your recipe and instructions for canning that you put a warning on there.
Yeah.
So you don't get sued.
Yeah.
About botulism and about making sure that they follow the instructions and for proper canning. Yeah. You don't want anybody to come after you.
Yeah.
So-
I do have insurance for my scaled, so that is included in the budget. Yeah, my liability insurance. Yes. Yeah.
I just wonder if those other packages that do what you're doing, they have to face the same issues, don't they? If they're shipping vegetables through the mail, they must have.
I would guess they
Yeah.
would, about, expiration dates
Yeah.
and things like that.
And that might be a good place to research, get a
Right.
package and see what they do and
Right.
copy what they do, because those guys are really big.
Yeah, there's so many businesses like that that have popped up in the last year.
It's gotta be,
even.
build on somebody else's.
Right, they've done the work.
Yeah, what did they do?
Yeah.
Good.
Don't reinvent the wheel, but I also, I noticed in your budget, like year 2, there was no, packaging and labels. Is that because you bought it all in year 1?
Oh yes, yeah, that's a good point. So my packaging and labels. So I had the packaging and labels. I got quotes on. They came in 500. I'm not gonna sell. I'm not gonna produce enough packaging for 500 packages. So I'll still have leftover for next year. We'll see how long that lasts, but yeah, that's why. So I mean, that's also again why like some of my fixed costs came down. Like I won't have to buy trellising. Well, actually no, I will still have enough trellising because I still have some trellising left over for a second row if I wanted to do that. I bought enough for this year. I had extra and I didn't throw it away. So like a lot of things that I didn't have, like shovels, purchasing the dirt. I had to get in loan because I didn't want to ruin the lawn in case this, if I ever move out to a different property. And I did put in land costs if I want to get purchase the land, some land out there. So that is included in that as well.
Year 3 is looking pretty stellar.
Yeah, that's very, very optimistic,
But I'm also, I don't see, unless it's kind of included in your land, the cost of the high tunnel itself.
Okay, yeah. I didn't. I put that in fixed costs.
Okay.
I think it was a little over $11,000.
Yeah.
I didn't include that separately. Maybe I should have, but I did put that in the fixed costs.
You can talk to Tracy about all of the issues we had getting our high tunnel up and
Oh, I
going
bet.
here.
Yeah, they were supposed to do classes in it the second term.
Right, and how long that took and the different issues that came up along the way. So
Yeah.
she would be a really good resource to help with that.
Yeah, and I heard that just because it's a school as well, that they had to get a lot of extra
Yeah.
safety things and whatnot.
We needed an evacuation plan.
Yeah.
If we were in the high tunnel, we needed to have, make sure it passed for like the fire marshal and for wind and all.
Yeah,
kinds
have
of
it like
things. Yeah.
really, really built up.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of extra things that you need to do, of course.
Great. Okay.
Well,
Thank
thank you, Amy, for coming, and this class has been the most fun I've ever had. These kids are just food for my soul. And I learned from them. Didn't I learn from you guys?
Yes.
But I'm pleased to say that they may have learned a little bit.
Of course, yeah, no,
Did you?
not a lot, yeah.
You guys did such an awesome job. It's clear how hard you worked and all that you did.
They were on it.
It's wonderful.
When I asked them, when we started the class, I asked them if they wanted to have a final.
Yeah.
What do you think the answer was?
No.
Of course not. So instead, well, let's show them, let me show Amy what we did instead. So instead, they pulled out on their business plan,
Yeah.
they pulled out objectives and goals.
Yeah.
And then their final exam was, did they meet the objectives and goals?
Right.
And then they evaluated each other having met them.
I like it.
So this was a way for each of us to contribute to each other.
Yes.
And
Learn from each other.
learn from each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we want to see, everybody had to make comments yesterday, we did the final.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's Nick's and then Willow and I want to tell you something, that the one that will be the most successful teacher in the future is this guy.
Yeah.
Because he gave the most detailed comments,
Oh, yeah.
right? About everything, that's great.
Mine were like 2 sentences and everything like that. It's like a whole book for each question.
Wordy,
So I have a question for you, Amy, because I'm supposed to do a weekly quiz or regular quiz for the goals, and what I'm doing is going to present each package as the goals for the course.
Right.
And present that as my final
Okay.
exam.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like because I know I messed it up in the past.
And it's still evolving, like, the way the college is going with collecting data for these
Yeah.
things is still evolving, so I'm a little less concerned about it, at this point. So
Because shut up.